All right, viewers, welcome to another edition of International Soccer Break. This is the International Break Week game preview, and we're not talking about the U.S. this time because we got our boy, Chris Brown, and
He's
that can
back.
only mean one thing. That can only mean one thing. What does that mean?
Reggae Boyz. That's what we're going to talk about tonight, guys.
The Reggae Boys are back, and they are playing tomorrow on what's the network? I don't know what the network is. How do we watch this game?
It's Paramount Plus.
I think Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. All right. Just want to make sure. So we got Paramount Plus showing the Reggae Boys, and the first game is at home. So Canada going to Jamaica. All right. Initial thoughts about this from both of you.
Yeah, I think more or less they have the roster that they've had going back to the Gold Cup and to the 4 games that they had to play in their group stage of the Nations League. I think Coach Halgrimson has been talking about building a group, consistent players that you see repetitively coming back into the squad. So they have a regular set and pool that they're picking from that he can kind of implement the sort of style and method of play that he wants to have. So that's a positive because at points in the past, it's been very disjointed, some of the rosters that the Reggae Boys have had to pick from. And it's good to see a level of consistency and continuity that hopefully can lead to some good results going forward against some of the tough teams in CONCACAF now.
And on the other side, you have the exact opposite for Canada, really. An interim manager at this point, Bielo, and John Herdman no longer there, left in disgust at what was going on at the Federation. So while for once we're talking about a Jamaica team that has consistency, that has a player pool that looks the same to the last window, we're talking about a Canadian team that still doesn't really know where it's going, doesn't have a permanent manager. It's really a low point in a lot of ways, and it's an interesting opportunity for Jamaica because they get a Canadian team that is still, yes, probably a more talented team. But I don't know. This is a low moment for this Canadian team. And this Jamaican team is starting to build a way that they know how to play together. The manager's been there now. He's hired in 22. He's been there long enough. I don't know. I like the Reggae Boys' chances, Chris.
This is a good opportunity. All right, Chris. So let's break this roster down now. Just here it is. Wow, look at that, man! What a nice roster.
Compared to the U.S. roster, it's beautiful, man. Wow.
We need to hire whoever does the Jamaica national team graphics and like
illustrations, man, hand drawn. Wow.
Look at that. All right, Chris, over to you.
Yeah, I think you have a lot of the same sort of high-level attacking talent that you've seen in some of the past windows. It's really featuring Michael Antonio, Leon Bailey, and Damari Gray. He's looked as good as any player I think I've seen that's really been able to integrate with himself in the side as quickly as possible. He's got multiple goals and assists through his first several games. Then you go look through the midfield, it does become a more defensive midfield. I'd say that if you talk to most Reggae Boys fans, they're going to say that they don't necessarily have somebody that's going to play the ball directly forward and be able to shield off some of the press of defenders. So the link-up play between the back line and the forwards, that's kind of been the consistent issue with them, but hopefully they find a way to improve that. And then on the back line, I think defensively, Ethan Pinnock is really the player to watch there. At Brentford has been just a stalwart defensively for them, is back from an Achilles issue he had. And he's going to be, rounding out that back line along with one of the best goalkeepers in CONCACAF in Andre Blake. So I'd say those are really the key players that you want to look at as far as Jamaica is concerned. That's likely who you're going to have to be looking to be able to get them over the line.
Yeah, Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I think you brought up the key concern, which is the midfield here. And also a player that I think has had some really nice moments for Jamaica, and it's Bobby De Cordova-Reid. I think a player I like, a player that's going to have to play a big role again in this game, that he's had moments where he's looked really good, some performances where he hasn't looked as good. He's a key part of making this team go. And I think with that attacking line, you have so much firepower up front. You need to get more out of the midfield. And he's a guy I've always liked. So keep your eyes on him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, which of these lucky guys gets the task of dealing with, Mr. Davies?
Yeah, that is the matchup to watch and the real, I'd say, highest point of concern if you're the Reggae Boyz. It's likely going to fall to Javane Brown, and he has in some ways been sort of the whipping boy for some Reggae Boyz fans. That's the real concern. Matchup one-on-one with Davies is something that they probably want to avoid. So maybe they're going to have to shadow and send extra defenders towards Davies, because I don't think they want to see Javane Brown and Alphonso Davies on an island. You don't want to see most defenders having to go one-on-one with Alphonso Davies.
No, nobody can do that. There's very few players in the world that can do that. And you just got to help, right? You got to have your center fullback shift over and help. And then you have to hope that you force him. He can beat you down the line in theory, but when that cross comes in, when the ball gets cut back, there's no one there to play it to. But he's just so dangerous. I mean, he's just so dangerous, and he's the key to everything Canada does.
Yeah. All right. So we've kind of talked about that. Let's now get back into it in terms of what is going to take place, when they meet tomorrow in Kingston, and then, we can talk a little bit about the return leg. So Chris, what are you looking for them to achieve tomorrow heading into Canada on Tuesday?
I think they have to walk out of Independence Park, the office, with a positive result. I don't think a draw is going to be enough to get it done. They need to be able to walk away with a win, with a positive goal differential going up to Toronto. So the fact that it's a Canadian team that, as Rahi mentioned, has been a little disjointed in the federation. For once, it's not the JFF being the focus of the negative headlines as far as what's going on. It's actually someone else, at least on the Reggae Boy side. The Reggae Girls we can talk about in another video. But for now, yeah, this is as good an opportunity, I think, as Jamaica has had to try and push their way into the top 5, the top 3 of the CONCACAF region, and be able to get a quality win against one of those opponents. So I'm gonna go with a 2-1 win for the Reggae Boyz, and hope they can find a way on the return leg in Toronto to hold down the Canadians to a draw.
They need to win this game. The home leg, they have to win. It's got to be a result. I got really excited last time during the Gold Cup. I thought they had a chance against Mexico. I was a little overzealous. I really believe in this Jamaica team. I really do, because they have so much talent. And I do think they have a good manager. This is a big moment for them. I think they will get the win at home. I don't know what that means for the second leg yet. That doesn't necessarily mean you get through. But I think 1-0 at home is what's going to happen, and it sets them up nicely. If they don't win this leg, I don't think there's a chance, regardless of what happens in the second leg.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity, and it's Copa America is on the line here. So it's it's everything to play for. You couldn't ask for a better opportunity, and Jamaica avoided the US, they avoided Mexico, so this is probably a time where you want Canada, and this is an opportunity. I'm going to get on the Reggae Boyz bandwagon this time, and I'm going to say, as well as Chris, 2-1. Let's just real quick before we finish, what is going to be the key, Chris, to the Toronto game? Let's just talk briefly about that. So how did they get that one done?
Yeah, defensively, they've got to look just a lot better, I think, in certain aspects than they have in some of the games that they've played over the past several months, really making sure that when some crosses come into the box, they're making sure their defenders are the ones getting to those balls first and heading them back out. They have shown some vulnerability at times with those dangerous crosses in the box, not defending them as well as they need to. So that, for me, is what they need to do in Toronto in order to make sure that they can hold it to a draw. A clean sheet is going to be a lot to ask, but if they have any chance in Toronto, it's got to be defending the box better.
And you can't concede early. You cannot concede early. That's what happened, unfortunately, in that game against Mexico. In that game, that second leg, if you can hold off for 30, 35 minutes, assuming you get a good result, that's when the nerves build. That's when it gets really, really dicey as the home team. And with the attacking firepower you have, you could take advantage of a couple counterattack moments, but you have to survive the early going. That's something they haven't done well against these big opponents. So you have to do that in order to get through.
Exciting game, that's coming up. I think all the Reggae Boyz fans out there are excited, pumped to go. I will sign off, but I'll leave it to Chris at the end. So go Reggae Boyz. Sorry, Canadians. Best of luck to you guys as well, but we got
a chance to play into Copa America.
Yeah, you guys got your chance already, So keep watching the beautiful game, and Chris, I'll let you take it away as you finish it off here.
All right, appreciate the time, boys, and Reggae Boyz. Let's do it.
Let's go.